Hey there, and welcome to the UserLoop webinar for today. So we're going to be chatting with Rob Jewell, who's the founder of PPX Digital. Hey, Rob.
Hi, James. Great to be on today.
Thank you so much for coming. It's really looking forward to chatting to you today. And yeah, what the conversation is going to be about is a couple of things to do with incentivizing customers to complete surveys, and then also what you can do on your survey thank you page to kind of keep that customer engaged. So things that we can do to monetize that space, and why we might do that. Other brands that are doing that kind of thing. So yeah, I'm James. I'm the founder of UserLoop, the commerce survey platform, and we've got Rob here. So Rob, yeah, do you want to give us a quick intro to you and PPX Digital?
Yes, absolutely. So nice to meet you. I am a founder of PPX Digital. I've spent my whole career, the last 20 years in digital advertising, and the last 10 years in e-commerce specifically in digital advertising. So I built PPX Digital with the idea that there's a real opportunity to monetize users after they complete a purchase on an e-commerce website. And so I spent a good part of my career, all about how to get the customer to the website, how to get them to purchase. And the last few years have been focused on this, on how to monetize them most effectively on their way out of your website after they've completed their journey. And that's what Digital is all about.
That makes it makes total sense, because we all speak to merchants constantly, and they put so much effort into driving that traffic to the storefront and to converting, and then when you've finally got that customer that through the funnel, they're kind of highly qualified. So what else can you do to kind of monetize them? And is that kind of what you're aiming for with PPX Digital? Do you want to kind of tell us a bit about that a bit more?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that's the exact idea. Is I find that merchants, rightly so, spend a ton of time and effort on how to get that user, how to get the click to the website, how to get them to purchase, and then how to get them to come back over time, right? And retention marketing. And I think what they're doing some of, and of course they're using UserLoop for this, which is, hey, let's get a survey. Let's get the user to take a survey after they purchase so we can learn more about them. But even at the end of that survey, there's still live traffic that is at the end of their journey on your website that is going to go off on the rest of the internet to do something else. And we find that tends to be overlooked. And what we're doing at PPX Digital is bringing nationally based advertisers who are willing to pay a premium for that traffic to get an impression or a click on that traffic, because that user has their credit card out. They're qualified. They've just made a purchase. And so advertisers are willing to pay way more than they typically would pay for just a standard impression on a user. So yeah, that's what we're doing at PPX Digital.
It makes total sense. And I think it's, it's something we hear a lot from merchants is, trying to find ways to monetize customers better, and ultimately take that additional revenue and put it back into customer acquisition. So anything that we can do, it helps that whole flywheel of better AOV, better kind of revenue per customer, and filling that back into the top of the funnel to fund more marketing. So yeah, I can totally see that. And we've done quite a bit of research ourselves, obviously, because we run kind of millions of surveys on that post-purchase kind of surface, primarily on the Shopify order confirmation page, by email and by link. And we did some research to see what the impact of offering customers an incentive was. So whether that's a discount code or a gift card, and it made a massive difference. So we saw it kind of boosting response rates from kind of around 50% to 75%. So it's like a quarter. You can drive a quarter more customers through to the end of your kind of survey just through offering a simple incentive. And it ties in really quite well with what PPX is doing, is taking those highly kind of qualified customers who've gone right through that funnel. They've purchased, they've gone through the survey as well, and then kind of at that final stage, they're the idea is to really reward them. So obviously UserLoop lets them do discount codes and that kind of thing, but you're taking it to kind of another level altogether by bringing in this partnership element.
Yes, absolutely. And I think, the advertisers approach it the same way, is they want to bring users an incentive to come on to make that click, right? So, they tend to be highly relevant. So a good example is Capital One Shopping is one of our advertisers. They have, once you add their extension on your browser, you immediately get coupon codes automatically entered in when you do shopping, right? We also have some cashback type advertisers. We have some meal delivery kit advertisers. We have SiriusXM, and pretty much all of them know that this is highly relevant traffic, and they want to bring a special offer to this traffic to encourage them. Just like you saw, you get 50%, 75% better response rates. You get 50% or better click rates as well at the end of that survey if you can match that user with a highly relevant advertiser.
And in terms of end customer experience, what's been your kind of feedback so far from not just from the merchants but from customers themselves? How are they receiving these kind of offers? Because I think we've all probably seen them ourselves, as we've been shopping on the web at the end of a checkout flow. Very often you do get these partner offers, and it is a certain type of brand that will advertise there. It tends to be like you say, the national brands, the bigger ones who are advertising there. And how have you seen customers respond to these offers?
Yeah, I think it's, customers are accustomed to this primarily from the travel space. If you book an airline ticket, you can one click get a rental car or a hotel deal right after that airline ticket purchase. That's hosted by the airline ticket site. So the good thing is, I think users are accustomed to this. We tend to see it just from the bigger, travel brands or the biggest e-commerce sites. Guys like True Classic or Fanatics or 1-800-Flowers are all doing this. And I think what we want to do is kind of bring this experience to the masses, to all e-com sites. Because there is an advantage of doing it. It's the customers like it because they get a special offer on the way out of their website. They can choose to take it, or they can just go on their journey as normal. The experience is very good. We don't have to hit them with a flashy spin your wheel type advertisement like you might have to do if you're trying to distract them when they're doing something else. We do simple text-based ads, copy, keep it just dead simple. And because that user is so highly engaged in the shopping experience, even post-purchase, they're coming off that high, right? You don't need the flashiness. So the user experience tends to be nice and easy. We run them through a few different offers that are optimized to them. And a lot of times these are better offers than they can get, elsewhere if they go on the website directly.
And I guess that's a key part of this, is that the customer experience of this, like you say, is very straightforward. It's a straightforward offer. So I think it stands testament to the quality of the offers themselves that customers are engaging with it. Because if it's a bad offer, no customer's going to engage with it. But it just proves these are actually good offers that are well targeted to customers who actually want to take it up and are happy to get it. It doesn't maybe feel so much like hard advertising because it is it's something that they value and they probably want, because it's not just a low quality offer that's being shown.
Absolutely. And we see that in the click-through rates that we see, right? We see 20% plus click-through rates on the first offer shown, which is unheard of in advertising, right? Typically it's 1-2%, but we're seeing 20% plus. And it definitely speaks to the user experience, to the fact that it is relevant to the user, the fact that they are at the end of their journey. We're not distracting them from anything. It tends to work quite well. And that high click-through rate is why it monetizes so well for these websites that are hosting it. Because if it was a low click-through rate, or it was the wrong offer, or was the wrong experience, it wouldn't be worth it for the e-com sites to host it.
100%. And I guess, you kind of answer perhaps one of the objections that may come up when, brands are looking at doing something like this, is they are only being targeted right at the end of the purchasing flow. So there is no risk of any traffic bouncing out of the checkout process, or it affecting your conversion rate in any way, because this is only happening right at the end of the survey. So if anything, it's probably going to help with the LTV of your own brand, as you've got more happy customers, but there isn't any risk of it affecting bounce or abandon rates or anything like that. So
no risk at all, because this appears not only after the purchase experience, but after the survey experience, which of course is post-purchase. And so, right now, I believe the surveys just end and thank you for your survey, right? And then the customer decides to move on, and it's just sort of a dead end. And all we're doing is creating a path at that dead end that, allows them to kind of get monetized on their way out.
100%. And it's not anything that's at a cost to the brand. So, obviously they've got, there are a ton of different options, and we do see some brands using discount incentives at that point with UserLoop or gift cards, but often they'll be with a different motivation. So that will be to, try and pick that customer up for their future order, or to, give them a free gift to help with customer satisfaction, things like this. Whereas this is actually a revenue generator, so I think that's where it's quite a different proposition to anything we currently have in like the UserLoop product suite. Is this is actually something that is a cash positive to the brand, and that's probably something that's worth diving in a bit, because it kind of does change the dynamics of the whole customer acquisition cost and the average revenue per user, because you are effectively, after that sale is completed, you've got another potential chance to earn some kind of revenue for that customer that isn't an upsell or anything else like that. It's something completely fresh, and like we said, it isn't going to affect your conversion rate, which I think would be the key kind of potential objection that you might hear.
Exactly. And I think that is the big reservation when it comes to traditional upsells, is they're basically trying to distract the user from buying to get an upsell. And as we all know, that can affect your conversion rate. So not that that's wrong to do, but you have to be very careful when you're doing a traditional upsell prior to the purchase. This is post-purchase. This is at the end of the user's journey. It's kind of a no-brainer, right? Because you're just monetizing that user on the way out. And like you said, the profits from this, every dollar that's generated is purely profit, right? And that can be, taken as profit. Some stores will choose to do that. That can be, or that can be reinvested into customer acquisition, like you mentioned, which I think, every store is trying to figure out how to improve AOV. And this is one way to do it that hasn't been done much.
Absolutely. And I guess it might be interesting to talk about what the setup process for this is, because I think that's probably something a lot of people will be asking is, how am I going to get this installed and up and running? And that might be a good kind of chance to talk a little bit about what we're planning to do together. So in UserLoop, you're going to have the option to turn on monetization, everything we've just talked about, through a new partnership we're working on with PPX Digital. So I don't know if maybe we can talk a little bit about how it will work in UserLoop, and then maybe if you can say a little bit how it works with other platforms, if people want to use other platforms than UserLoop or Shopify to set up these offers.
Yeah, great. I'll let you kind of speak to the idea with UserLoop, of course, is we want to make it a seamless integration. And I know you'll touch on how it will be integrated into your app. But like we spoke about before, it will be at the end of the survey response as that user's on the way out. In terms of other instances with direct Shopify stores, we make it very, very simple, just like we're doing with UserLoop. It's one line of code. It's placed directly in a certain section of Shopify. You don't have to go into your theme. You just go into the Shopify settings, and then you get a login that is you can see your real-time revenue being reported. So it's not a big setup. There's no installation. There's no pixels to place. There's no any of the traditional stuff. If you're doing customer acquisition on your side, it's one line of code. Then we manage optimizing the advertisers to the merchant's traffic.
Yep, super easy. And yeah, I guess I can explain a little bit about how it will work in UserLoop. So we're going to start off with launching this for customers and merchants in the US. It's very simple to turn on in UserLoop. So if you head to any of your email or link surveys, there is going to be a toggle for monetization, and you can turn that on. And then once that's turned on, as you say, the offers will then be added to the very end of your thank you page. So right at the end of the survey, the offers then get shown to the customer, and then we'll be tracking revenue driven by that, conversion rates, and you'll be able to eventually see all of that in UserLoop and get paid out as well for any revenue that you kind of generate through that. But I think we're fairly optimistic this is going to have, for the brands that do opt in to have this feature, it can have quite a good impact on their kind of revenue kind of at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's one of the easiest things you can do, honestly, to create revenue, right? It's like you said, and you showed me the kind of the toggle within your app. It's one toggle, and then you've got the text-based offers that start appearing at the end of the survey, and your revenue immediately starts generating from that. So it couldn't be easier to integrate. I think that's one thing we wanted to make sure of in our partnership, and in terms of how kind of our code is set up on our side in general, is it needs to be easy for merchants. They've got so much going on, and so many. They're so used to all the pixels placing and everything that's involved with managing their website that we didn't want this to be one more thing. It needs to be an easy experience for them to start generating money. And I think that was really the goal of the partnership, and I think what it turned out to be.
Yeah, and we're super excited to give all customers access to this, and eventually in more kind of regions outside the US as well. I think are coming down the road, right?
Absolutely. 2024 will be monetizing a lot more countries. We're focused on the US right now, but more countries coming soon.
And I don't know if you could give us a bit of a flavor for some of the kinds of offers that are shown here, and maybe any other kind of brands that are doing this right now, like as an example of best practice. Because I think, like we touched on earlier, it is the large brands that tend to do this right now, because they're the ones who are in place to make these deals and make it happen. But we're looking to try and take the learnings from what those big brands are doing and open it up to all stores on Shopify. So yeah, I don't know if there are any examples you could share.
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of the brands doing it, certainly the ticket companies are doing it. It's pretty widely adopted there. Ticketmaster and other ticket companies. We see some of the biggest D2C e-com companies, like for instance, True Classic is a big one. They're doing it. Fanatics, which is a huge sports merchandising site, is doing it. A lot of the big flower companies are making millions of profit every year in doing this. I've heard of one specifically that's making $6 million a year in pure profit just from adding this one line of code. So the big guys are all doing it. They're doing it because it works, because they can take that money, reinvest it in customer acquisition. And I think that can be challenging, because as everyone knows, the merchants and the e-commerce stores are all competing together for those Google ads, for the Meta ads, for the TikTok ads. And so, we need to try to, do our part, equalize the playing field a little bit. And, part of, our goal is to kind of bring that to all merchants. In terms of the advertisers, we're seeing really all advertisers are interested in this space. We just have to make sure they work, and that's our job. The ones that we tend to see are working really well are some sites like the cashback sites. There's a couple cashback sites that provide free shipping opportunities to e-commerce purchasing. There's a lot of the auto coupon sites like the Capital One Shopping, the Rakuten, that work really well. There's SiriusXM. There are the meal kit delivery companies, the Home Chefs, the Hello Freshes, where you can get something like 20 or so meals free. So really, the advertisers are competing to get into this space, and because of that competition, they're bringing the prices up of acquiring this traffic, which is good for the merchants, right? Because they can generate more.
Yeah, and I mean, in the examples I've seen so far, I've just been super impressed by the quality of the advertisers there. Like you touch on these, a lot of the offers that are being shown are from big brands that people recognize and know and trust, which again is what's leading to such good click-through rates there, because it is very often it's brands that people trust that are being shown there. So I think that's kind of reassuring as well to people. That it is pretty top tier stuff that's on offer there.
Absolutely, and that's the stuff that works. There needs to be, what we find is this is actually not a great channel for advertisers to kind of create awareness. It needs to be nationally known advertisers that they've seen, users have seen before, that are presented an offer at the time that they're engaged in a shopping experience and have their credit card out, right? And that's why it tends to work. A big part of it is that nationally based, well-known advertiser.
100%, and we're really excited to work on this together, and we're going to have a blog post underneath this video outlining everything about this, how you can turn it on, enable it, what it means, what the opportunities are for your brand. But like we said earlier, this is something that we've worked on together to make it unbelievably easy for you to turn on and open up a whole new revenue channel without any of the risk of affecting your conversion rate or existing customer journey. So we're really, really excited to have this out there for you all to try. It's going to be super easy. So yeah, Rob, any other final thoughts before we head off? We're super excited to work on this with you.
Yeah, no, just thank you so much for having me on, James. I couldn't be more excited about our partnership together, and look forward to working with you and the merchants really closely on this. Absolutely,
and we're excited to see what success all the merchants on both our platforms have with this, because I think there's going to be some great wins. So get to turning on that option in the UserLoop dashboard, or of course, if you're not using UserLoop, go and install PPX directly, as Rob said earlier. But thanks so much for joining us, and we'll speak again soon. But yeah, thanks so much for all the insights.
Thanks again, James. Great conversation. Appreciate it.
Thanks.